Hello, it's Cunningham from Wrestling Audio Revolution. I just wanted to post a video about the world of wrestling as it stands right now. We are in mid-June. WWE is going crazy. New Japan has lots of good stuff, lots of going on. But I want to talk about right now is how to book a major event and how to handle your business and promote and build a show properly. Because over the last two Sundays, both the 11th of June and the 18th of June, there are two very distinct ways that a show can be put together and booked, and one is good and one is bad. And if you look at it in terms of lineup and match progression and titles and the way everything should work, there's a way to do it and a way not to do it. Now, I'm going to go backwards and talk about the latest one first, because that to me is the way not to do it. Money in the Bank from WWE, the SmackDown exclusive show, not the way that you necessarily want to build a show. You used your kickoff show, you had the Hype Bros come back, wrestle their first match. In 6 months, they beat the Colognes clean in the center. That's great. Good way to start the show, happy way to start the show. Team coming back, awesome stuff. Then you went to the way hyped, way built, way misplaced women's Money in the Bank ladder match to start the show, and you think, okay, they're trying to do something where you get a hot matchup to start the show, a match everybody's into, and they were into it until the very end. And what happens at the end? Carmella wins because James Ellsworth, the little tiny dwarf that he is, gets the idea to come run in the ring, stop Becky Lynch from climbing the ladder, and then realizes, oh wait, if I climb the ladder myself and hand the briefcase to my girlfriend, she'll win. And that's exactly what they did. At the moment it happened, the crowd loved it. When you realize how crappy it was and what doesn't, the crowd turned on it almost immediately in that sense. Just not the way to handle your stuff. And just not the way to keep your fans invested in your show. The next matchup was the tag title match, the Usos versus the returning New Day. You've got good teams, good wrestling, great stuff. And you tease the New Day might actually come out and win. And then what do? You have the heel Usos walk out and do a count out screw job finish in this match. Why? Nobody's really sure. Nobody really understands why you booked that the way you did. I'm probably going to go out of order here, but there's other things that happen on the show that are just horribly handled. You had Fashion Police, or Breezango, because they can't legally use the name Fashion Police. There's probably an issue with E in the show that they do on that network. But they do a backstage segment of a tape, a VHS tape, where they're literally dressed like Miami Vice, down to the white suit. Yay, Fandango for putting the white suit on. But you did that angle, and it's a voice-distorted video of two guys in the shadows saying, we've been the ones who trashing your office, and they do all that, and he's, oh, we're going to put this match out later. Okay, so you didn't do proper build on your television, and you're going to do your build for your pay-per-view match or your event match on your event. Okay, I don't know. Again, you're not really appealing to your fans. Not real smart. You had Naomi and Lana wrestle for what seemed like 20 minutes. Lana didn't look anywhere near as bad as we thought she would, but this was not a great match. Naomi did win, and okay, and the crowd was kind of meh on that too. Then we get to the world title match, Randy Orton in his hometown of St. Louis against Jinder Mahal. They introduce all these legends at ringside, Greg Gagne and Sergeant Slaughter and Bob Orton and Ric Flair. The fact that Randy's dad Bob is there, a huge pop, everything. So we get to the match. Orton dominates the majority of the match. Just as you think he's finally going to take Mahal out, the Singh brothers get ejected from the match. But before they leave, they decide to go beat up Randy's dad, who pull him out of the crowd and beat on him. That's fine. And Randy then proceeds to leave a beaten down Jinder Mahal and beat on the Singh brothers for what seemed like 10 minutes. and then of course slides back in the ring and gets pinned by Mahal. It's not really the way to make your babyface look really strong in that sense. And just looked lame and a predictable finish. Just, again, not pleasing your audience really at all with that idea. So, and then we go down to the Breezango build that they've done for a minute and a half and turns into the Ascension, the proverbial fart in church. Happy to see guys get work, but huge letdown when you could have done something way cooler. We also had the random unannounced debut of Maria Kanellis and her husband Mike, for WWE's sake, also Kanellis, talking about the power of love. No, we're not talking about Bruce Pritchard because he works for the other guys now. We're talking largely about the power of love and the awesomeness of love. But they're still heels. You still want to kill him. You want her to stop talking. We'll see how this plays out on TV. I don't know why you do this on an event and not on your television, not on SmackDown Live on Tuesday nights. But WWE's going to do things the way they want to do them. I don't know if they even look at the Sunday night shows as special events, as treated like blow-offs to their feud, or just a continuation of what they're already doing. I really wish they would treat them better, but we'll get to that more in a minute. Then we get to the main event. 6 guys, awesome match. Everything you could have imagined to make this match look good. You had Baron Corbin, the smarmy heel, take out Nakamura during his entrance, which was great, only because it built the suspense for Nakamura coming back in later and almost winning. Great babyface work by Nakamura, and it was awesome. AJ Styles doing what AJ Styles does, being great, being almost the best worker in the match, and doing a spot where he climbs the ladder, gets the briefcase. Dolph Ziggler removes the ladder. AJ hangs from the ceiling of the building and hanging off it, tries to unhook the briefcase but is unable to, and falls probably a good 10 to 15 feet, if not higher, flat on his back. And I really wondered how he didn't hurt his knee the way he landed, but that here or there. But if you look at all those things and everything they did, they even teased the AJ Nakamura match, where a point where they were the only 2 left in the ring, they removed the ladder and decided to brawl before deciding to climb up the ladder, and they almost won, but eventually Baron Corbin wins. Okay, I see you're trying to build Baron, but I don't like. I understand he's a heel, but I do not completely believe that he gets heel heat. Some of his heat is heel heat, I know that, but I think a lot of these just go away, just get off my screen. I don't want to see you. And if they can make chicken out of chicken, chicken salad out of chicken turd with him, then great. We'll see what happens. Because right now what you have is a heel champion being chased by a heel Money in the Bank contract holder. I don't like it. I imagine a lot of fans that Billy didn't like it. I just felt like a lot of the show with the weird booking and the finishes, the walkout for the count out and the hype match, the Rush Breezango program that you pushed through in one night, the whole thing with the women's Money in the Bank ladder match, which they seemingly tried to correct on SmackDown this past week by saying that Carmella, by taking the briefcase away from Carmella and saying they're going to do another Money in the Bank match on next week's show, likely to hype ratings going into July 4th and the whole John Cena thing. But I don't know, you devalue your event, your Money in the Bank event, by having the weird finish in the women's match. You spent all that time with it. So to me, that's not the way to do an event and make it seem special and make you want to spend your money on a WWE Network subscription or buy pay-per-view if you still do, whichever way you decide to consume, however way you pay for it. I'm not sure that's the way to do it. Whereas you look at New Japan, for example, who put together an awesome 4-hour show the week prior where you did everything due to make that feel special. The Dominion show, which started with your obligatory 6-man tag with Young Lions, then an 8-man tag, and then you got into the main matches. Michael Elgin and Cody had a really good match. You had Los Ingobernables de Japón retain their 6-man tag titles in a gauntlet match that seemed kind of meh. It just kind of seemed very let's find every faction in New Japan. I didn't even know there was as many as there were, and put them all in one match to get everybody in the match. And then you got to the really good stuff. The Young Bucks winning the junior titles for the 6th time, which was awesome, which was a super kick party mixed in with the idea that Rocky Romero got hurt and Trent Barrett had to carry most of the match on his own. I don't know if they're going to eventually split those two guys up and have them go off and feud, because it'd be something different. Guerrillas of Destiny, the two guys I fear wrestling more than anything, if you know anything about what happened at the Guy Minister and I at our trip to the Ring of Honor show last year. They won the New Japan Heavyweight Tag Titles over War Machine in a much better match than I thought it would be. And then you had Kushida, probably my favorite wrestler, singular in New Japan, winning his junior title back against Hiranmu after doing the story with Hiranmu beating him in a minute and a half last time a few months ago and going on a losing streak, and then coming back to win Battle of the Super Junior Tournament, and then finally doing an arm story and a leg story with the two of them, and eventually getting the hoverboard lock on Hiranmu to get the tap-out victory. And I don't know if he's got a broken arm. It looked like he certainly could have been. And that match was great. And then you had the Never Openweight title, which is borderline, I guess the best way to describe it is the American hardcore title would be the equivalent of this. Two guys that just like to go and fight. And you had Suzuki and Goto have a good match, but they had what they call a lumberjack death match, which was guys from their faction, Suzuki Gun and Chaos at ringside, guys that likely would have been involved in the match anyway. And I felt a little bit like it took away from the match, but it was still a very strong match. And then the last two matches were just amazing. You had Tanahashi, the ace of New Japan, the biggest star they have, getting his title back over Naito in an amazing match. Naito just probably the best that you have right now in terms of work rate and in terms of as a character just doing amazing things. And then you have possibly what may be a match of the year candidate, only because it's the same two guys that we've already put in the match of the year candidate from Wrestle Kingdom earlier in January, had a rematch for the New Japan World title with Kenny Omega and Okada wrestling for a very long time. They essentially had a 3-segment match, and what it was they did what seemed like about 20 minutes of actual basic wrestling. Then it went hardcore and got crazy for 20 minutes. People flying outside the ring, people getting, hit with chairs, everything to that dude. And then you to the point where you had members of the Bullet Club come out near the end, and Cody Rhodes, the American Nightmare, wanting to throw in the towel on behalf of the Bullet Club and saying Kenny can't fight anymore, and everybody else had to stop Cody, and it was great. And then Kenny Omega makes a comeback, and everybody starts hitting their finishers, and it was this brilliant piece of artwork. I don't really know how else to describe it in that sense. It was just so much fun, and you get so invested emotionally to watch. And at that point, I didn't even care who won. I just wanted somebody to win. I wanted both guys to come out okay, and they did. Physically, it seemed like it. I haven't read any reports to the contrary that they're hurt. So they wrestled for 1 hour. They wrestled a draw. Nobody won. Both guys had their finishers kicked out of. The Rainmaker clothesline, Okada must have used it 3 or 4 different times, and Kenny would kick out every single time. Now, Kenny only got his finisher on Okada once, and at that point, Okada was close enough to the ropes to be able to reach out and grab it. And unfortunately, I am having a complete brain freeze at the moment. I can't remember the name of Kenny's finisher. I believe it is the One-Winged Angel, now that I think about it. Yeah, I think so. And he only hit that move once. So, not only did they have an amazing match with an amazing story, but their finishers were protected, because they only got to use them a couple of times in Okada's case, and only once in Kenny Omega's case. So you gotta hope with G1 coming up and Okada being the champion and New Japan's foray into the United States coming up at the beginning of July in Long Beach with the New Japan US title tournament, which I'm sure they'll talk about on the Japanophiles going forward once everybody gets back to work. In a little bit, we'll deal with that, and then it's going to be an interesting summer for New Japan, as well as WWE, with some odd pay-per-view names. Great Balls of Fire coming up in after the Japan show. Mind you, the main event, that's going to be good too. Brock Lesnar versus Samoa Joe. Build for that's been good. I'll say that much. But to go back to my original point, a couple things WWE is doing wrong. You're upsetting your fans by not giving them a good enough product, or not building your show properly. And number two, having two very separate rosters on Raw and SmackDown. You're exposing how thin your roster is when you do a bunch of multi-man matches, and you do a 3-hour show with 6 matches on it, and a couple of them drag, and then you rush a couple of others. So I question the booking style at that point. But just to make a point, this is where wrestling is. WWE is, still the king of North American wrestling financially, whether you want to agree with it or not. But New Japan is probably airing the best product we have going right now. And I encourage everybody, if you find a way through whatever means you have to watch Kenny Omega versus Okada from Dominion in Osaka, Japan, that happened on the 11th of June, go out of your way to find it. It is worth your hour. It is worth every penny that you may or may not have to pay for it. But everybody, if you really care about it, you should pay for it. It's worth it. And on that note, I will see everybody later on. Enjoy everything. We'll get ready for Great Balls of Fire. Talk to everybody soon.